Alright everybody, welcome to another corn roll hunting video through the Troy's Treasures channel. Tonight we're going to be doing cents, not pennies, cents. The USA never minted pennies. We wanted to be different than the British, so that's why if you look at the back of our coins, what we would normally call as pennies, it says 1 cent. Now what we're looking for tonight are wheat cents, particularly minted from 1909 through 1958. If we're lucky, we'll find a 1943 steel cent when I needed the copper for the war effort. Now, 19 pennies or cents that were minted between 1909 to 1982 are 95% copper, 5% zinc, and they actually have a metal content value of 3.6 cents per cent. Pennies that are modern, made from 1982 to today, are 97.5% zinc, 2.5% copper. So they totally flipped it. Whereas it was mostly copper before 1982, now it's mostly zinc. And there is a weight difference of 3.1 grams to 2.5 grams. Today's modern cents, the metal content is only worth 0.8 of a cent. So if we do have any 1982s tonight, we do have our handy dandy Pampered Chef scale so that we can tell the difference, because some 1982s are mostly copper, others are mostly zinc. So the only way to tell the difference really is to weigh them. All right, for tonight we've got $6 worth or 12 rolls. Now you can purchase a box of these like you can the nickels and quarters and dimes. Each box at the bank branch is going to cost you $25, so it'll be roughly it'll be 2,500 cents. It is highly likely that you will find Canadian cents in our rolls, as you also find Canadian nickels and Canadian dimes in our nickel and dime rolls. It's highly likely you'll find Canadian cents as well. So let's get started. Open our first roll. You have my handy dandy dump cups off to the side. And the only way to, it's really easy to fly through these. If you're looking for wheat cents, the modern cents also have this shield on the back. So it's really simple to go through them. Anything that looks like it might be copper, mostly copper before 1982, I'll have a closer look. So I'll thumb through these, take out all the really new ones, and then come back and look at the dates. You'll have people that hoard these just because the older stuff is worth 3.6 cents per cent. You hear stories of people hoarding hundreds of thousands of copper cents, waiting for the day that it's okay for them to melt them down. That's an old, not an old one. I don't do that. I mostly look for wheat cents. Like I said, they were made 1909 with Lincoln on them, 1909 through 1958. And all I'm doing is holding off what I think might be older off to the side and going back and having a look at it with my loop. And those look like copper. So all I'm doing is just going to look at these dates. So this is a 1981D. So this one is 95% copper. Throw it off to the side. 1973. So I'll do this for every roll. I won't make you sit here and watch me go through all of these dates, but if I find anything interesting, I will bring you back on. Okay, in that first roll we did find a 1959, which is the first year that they had the Lincoln Memorial on the back. They took the wheats off the back and put the Lincoln Memorial. So that's the first year Lincoln Memorial copper cent, 1959. All right, roll number 2. So that was quick. So we're about halfway through the roll. And you can see we do have a wheat sitting here. Not sure the date yet. See if you can see it. Looks like maybe a 47. $1942. So made during World War II. 1942 wheat cent. Awesome. Bring it back in if you find anything else. All right, so roll number 5. Well, looks like there may be a couple more good ones in here, but we do have another wheat cent. And this year is 1946. Let's see what else we've got in here. I'm just throwing all these with the Lincoln Memorial on the back off to the side to come back and look at the dates. Some of them you can really tell are copper just because they have that brownish color just from aging over time, that patina. I think I had dirty fingers doing nickels. Pennies or cents. Those are some dirty coins. All right, bring it back if we find anything else. Yep, roll number 6. Here we go. Canadian cent, 1972. Young Queen Elizabeth on there. Never fails. Always find Canadian. The end of this roll looks pretty interesting. You can see all this copper down here. I'm going to bring those up here so we can get on them real quick. Looks like a lot of copper, but I don't see any wheat cents in there. All right, bring it back if you find anything else. All right, it's not a Canadian and it's not a wheat cent for the United States, but it's this one is commonly referred to as Abraham Lincoln pooping on a log. It's just funny. Okay, so in our 10th roll, we get another Canadian, 2006, and Queen Elizabeth doesn't look so young in this one. I'm telling you, we get so many Canadian coins in these rolls. I have to make a trip up to Canada just to bring their coins back. All right, so I've gone through all the cents. Only ended up with 2 wheat cents, but 2 59s, 2 Canadians. These are all the 1982s that I have to weigh. Let's see if I can get them to weigh. If this scale doesn't work, I also have a jeweler's scale that I can use. Yeah, this is just whole numbers. It's going to round up. So even if it's 2.5, it's going to round up to 3. Get my other scale. Well, this digital pocket scale, I usually use it to weigh maybe jewelry that I find on walks or any gold or silver that I find. Let's see what we get here. All right, so we want gram. That's grain. I want gram. Gram. 3.04, that one's copper. 2.5, that one is zinc. 3.06 copper. 3.07 copper. 307 copper. 3.11 copper. 3.05 copper. 2.5, this one is zinc. 303 copper. 303 copper. And 307 copper. Hey, surprisingly, these 82s are copper. And you can see here, I don't know, maybe 50 copper cents and a whole ton of zinc cents. All right, so just to recap, USA never minted pennies. We made cents. That's why on the back of our penny it says, or coin, it says 1 cent. So in 1909 and 1982, they were 95% copper. Current metal content of 0.0361, so 3.6 cents. 1982 zinc pennies to today, or zinc cents to today, are 97.5% zinc. They weigh 2.5 grams, and the metal content is only worth 1/10 of a cent. So you see why people hoard these by the, I don't know, some people, I'm sure there's somebody out there with millions of these things, just sitting waiting around for the day they can maybe sell them for a higher price or melt them down. I don't know. All right, anyway, thanks for joining the Troy's Treasure Channel for this cent hunt. Again, not penny hunt. Like, comment, subscribe, and good luck hunting, and we'll catch you on the next one.